This is CityCast Chicago. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and here's what Chicago's talking about.
Hey, it's executive producer Simone Alicea here in for Jacoby. And I got to tell you, I am really reeling over the fact that we are more than halfway through August. Feels like summer's winding to a close. And I don't know, it's been storming or smoky just like every weekend this season. PJ, I'm curious, what has the weather ruined for you this summer? Because I feel like it's ruined my summer as a whole.
Honestly, I think it's just ruined, because I'm a person, I be going a lot of places, on the train a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been making travel just a lot for me. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Listen, let me tell y'all something, okay? I now pack an extra pair of socks and underwear just in case I get too wet. Because that's how bad it's been. Because it has happened to me before, y'all.
Right. That's an invention of necessity of experience.
That's
right?
how
that
bad.
Comes from,
that's how bad
yes.
it is. I gotta take a extra pair of those, or I'm not going through the day like that. But yeah, it's just been ruining the whole traveling vibe, just the whole vibe.
I agree with that. Whether you're taking the train and you're just getting drenched, but even I'm a driver and just trying to get around, and there are downed trees everywhere, or the roads are flooded, and you don't know what that's gonna. Yeah, it's bad for everyone. That's CityCast Chicago contributor PJ Walker. PJ, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. Hey, y'all.
Same question to you. What's the weather ruined?
I feel like I didn't get really that many beach days in particular, because at one point it was too freaking hot. It was too hot, like melt an egg on the sidewalk hot. And then we had the freaking smoke, and now it's the rain. I feel like I got 2 beach days and they weren't even that good.
Yes, I did not get in the lake as much as I wanted to this summer. I know there's going to be time. I know it's still going to be warm into September. I mean, the past 2 Octobers have also been unseasonably warm. So, maybe there's hope yet. That's CityCast Chicago contributor Yareni Murillo. Welcome back to you as well.
Love being here.
We got a good show for you. We're going to be talking about NASCAR's very anticlimactic end here in the city. We're going to be talking about a media fight that's heating up. And we want to know what is the best, or at least our favorite, Mexican restaurant in Chicago. But before we get into all that, I do want to remind everyone that we are still in the middle of our summer closet clean out. Basically, now is the time to get a hold of some of that very rare CityCast Chicago merch by becoming a CityCast Chicago neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Chicago. Here's how it works. You listening right now, dear audience member, you're going to put up $10 a month or $100 a year. And not only do you get to support our work, keep your favorite contributors coming on, help Jacoby keep visiting those libraries, making sure we can bring you the best, most interesting, fascinating events in our newsletter. You're also going to be able to pick out some merch. We've got mugs, we've got pennants, but I really want to call out our Neighbors Make Chicago tote bags. First of all, it's cute. It's square. You can put books in it and stuff. I take it to game night every week. Second of all, we have an event coming up in September partnering with Printers Row Lit Fest that you are probably going to want a tote bag for. We're going to have more on that soon. And finally, there's only a dozen of these tote bags left. So now is the time to get it. If you want it, you can support the work. You can get the tote or the mug or the pennant, if whatever you prefer. And you can do it at membership.citycast.fm/Chicago. Thank you so much to everyone who has already joined, either whether it was to get the merch this month or you joined years ago. We are so appreciative. We love all of our neighbors and we love your support. Thank you so much. Let's get into what we actually want to talk about today. PJ, I want to start with you. NASCAR has announced that it will not return to Chicago in 2027. To recap, we had 3 races around Grant Park, 2023 to 2025, all of them over 4th of July weekend. And then they were going to use this year to kind of pause, and they went back to the track in Joliet, maybe try to find a different date that isn't quite so busy here in Chicago. But basically, it sounds like the city and NASCAR couldn't make the logistics work in time. PJ, what was your reaction when you heard this news?
Hallelujah. year. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Like, ever since this was announced, I was like, this is dumb. This is not what we need to be spending our money on. Don't nobody care about no vroom vroom going around the track. Like, why are we doing this? Is not the city for this. Like, this is so dumb. Of all the events, y'all want to bring some cars here? No. And you know, we done had this since, I want to say, since Lori was in office. So
yes,
you
that was
know.
her. She was the one who negotiated the deal, and it was like a 3-year deal with an option for a 2-year extension, right? So we did the 3 years, and we were in the middle of this like 2-year extension negotiation.
Yes. And so now it is moving to the Joliet Speedway for the 2027. And, you know, that's fine. You know, and my thing is, I don't think this is a very popular event because I'll be real, nobody talked about it. But then I was reading some of the articles and they were saying like even the chief of operations of NASCAR saying we don't really make any money on this, actually. We kind of lose a little bit. It's just more for investments. Why are you here? You know what I'm saying? I just like don't understand. You're wasting our time. You know what I'm saying? You know, big events like Lala, like, yeah, they're annoying. And I think, Urani, we talked about this last time, like about does the festival give back enough? And like they do, of course, they could be doing more, but they definitely do. NASCAR, they come in here, they lay that track down, they drive them cars around, they leave and take their money. They not giving nothing.
You know, it's interesting. When NASCAR, when this was first announced, you know, we were big skeptics over here at CityCast for some of the reasons you laid out here. In addition to that, I think the other thing that a lot of Chicagoans, you know, really didn't like was the fact that, you know, roads had to be closed, right, in order to prep that road, right? They are literally taking up roadways in the actual city that normal people are using every day. On top of concerns over like, is the city really getting back, you know, a return? You know, I know in subsequent years after the first year, you know, the city was able to negotiate sort of like higher payouts, right? That NASCAR had to give. And so, you know, we did make a little bit more money, but there were issues with attendance. And, you know, it's hard to tell if the issues with attendance were because, you know, Chicagoans simply weren't interested in the event or because it got rained out.
It did. I ain't even gonna lie. It did. I'll be fair about that. You right about that, Simone. It did get rained out.
There was a really big rain. And, but you know, I think too, even the drivers were a bit skeptical of the races. You know, it was interesting because a lot of them were like, oh, certainly it's really cool to have the city as a backdrop, and they were really kind of excited about the challenge of it. But they said it was a challenge. Like, it's different from being on sort of a traditional speedway, a traditional racetrack. And right, so this race had taken place in Joliet previously. NASCAR was like, we kind of want to do something new. We want to do this like city series, and we want, you know, they still wanted to be in the Chicago market. And obviously, again, those great backdrops. You get the lake, you get the buildings. Like, it's hard to argue that they didn't look cool, but you know, it's interesting. They went back this year, kind of during this pause, back to Joliet, and that event did really well. They sold a ton of tickets and like people loved it. And I remember that too, when they announced they were coming to Chicago, is like there were a lot of, you know, people who were already NASCAR fans out in the burbs, out near Joliet, who were like, but we don't want to come into the city for this. I do think there are probably, we certainly met a couple of NASCAR converts. We've talked to some NASCAR converts in the city who we have, they exist, PJ. They exist. They exist. I mean, I don't know, man. Watching fast cars go fast is fun.
Out of all the sports assistants, like, I feel like that one is the one where I'm like, what y'all, like, I can even sit and see baseball. You know, I think baseball is so boring. I
agree.
Baseball is so boring.
Y'all are wrong. Y'all are. We can have that conversation another day. Watching, there is a beauty to the pace of baseball. But let's go on.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But even with this, it's just like, okay, I feel like I'm watching a video game. Cars just going in a circle. But you know, I'm glad people like that. But listen, I'm glad it's not coming back. Now, my question for y'all, I just want to toss in a little fun question. Like, if you were to see like one big like televised event come to Chicago and that you think Chicago would truly like benefit from, what would it be? Now, I have my answer. Would you like for me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, inspire us.
Okay, this might sound crazy. I think they should try doing the Grammys here.
Ooh.
I think they should try doing it. I think you could do it in whichever theater can hold like 3,000 to 4,000. I think the auditorium
probably
can do that. Yeah,
might be.
I think that would be good for the city. You know, it'll bring so many people here. I think it would be good for like also the entertainment industry in the city, because that way people can come to the city and like see and like scout, you know what I'm saying? I think it would be a lot of job opportunities. I also think like
PJ, why do I feel like you're always on here just like pitching for ways Chicago to take LA's business? Why do I feel like that's just the
literally?
We need to get up. We need to get our things. We need to get out here, okay? Like Chicago, we got that potential to be LA and New York. I just think we just like need a push.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think the thing I like about the Grammys, it's interesting because like I don't think they would ever move it out of LA. I think that's kind of a pipe dream. But what, I think what's interesting about the difference between like an event like that and an event like NASCAR is like, I think an event like NASCAR, they really have to try to sell you on kind of like the direct economic benefit in a way of like, oh, we're bringing more tourists in, we're bringing new people in. The first race in 2023, according to the mayor's office, brought in, over $100 million in impact. I think it was pretty similar in subsequent years. Although, of course, like the way that that's analyzed can be, it's always tough with these big events. It's really hard to kind of drill down on who actually felt that impact and where did that money go.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that we're talking about like direct payments to the city. And some of that is sort of like, oh yeah, this is what people were spending, in hotels and businesses around the event. But I think an event like the Grammys gives us like a marketing push. Like that feels like the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you better recognize Chicago. Like you better know that we're here. And like, even if we don't like quite make the money, to me, the marketing sell of an event like that maybe outweighs it.
I'm telling you, we can pull it off. I think, because I remember even that one year they were talking about, remember when we were supposed to get the Olympics? Do you remember when that was like in talks?
Sure. I don't know if we were. Yeah, there was a big push for it.
No, but I think the Grammys, I think it would do us right. I think it would be real cute here in Chicago. I think it would shock a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
It would be shocking.
It would.
Yeah.
And then imagine the parties, the Grammy weekend.
Ooh. That would be fun.
Ooh,
all right. That's interesting. I didn't think I was going to be sold on any large event coming to Chicago because I'm kind of a curmudgeon and I just don't like big things that take up traffic. But that's pretty persuasive, actually.
See?
Okay. Yeah, Annie, what about you? Do you have is there an event, a big televised event you'd want to bring to Chicago?
PJ inspired me. I think y'all don't judge me for this. I would love to see the Victoria's Secret fashion show here. Chicago right now, she's the new it girl. Like she's getting up there, but she's still kind of a little secret, but not really. Like she's the little sister of like New York and LA. But if she gets the fashion show, everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Chicago! And because the Victoria's Secret fashion show, it kind of fell off for a minute. It's just starting to come back. And I feel like if it were to be here in Chicago, it would put us on top. It would bring a whole modeling industry here, and I don't know. It just would add to Chicago's little
I like
interesting.
That. I like that. That's a good one.
I don't know, man. See, I actually think the crossover between like Victoria's Secret fashion show and NASCAR is actually bigger than you would think. Maybe households, right? I don't know, man. That show
You're not
just
sold
has so
on that
much.
one.
For me, and I don't know if it's just the hipster in me. It's just like I want something a little more like, I don't know, a little edgier, a little hipper. You know what I mean? Like a little, I don't know. There's just something about that. Yeah, I don't know if I could get on board with it. It would be interesting though, and I think like trying to, anytime Chicago has a lot more fashion going on than I think it ever really gets credit for.
I
and
agree.
has more of a fashion industry than it really gets credit for, but it does struggle.
Because we have like Chicago Fashion Week, like different cities have their fashion weeks, but I've never heard anybody talk about Chicago Fashion Week. So I feel like we need one big fashion thing to kind of catapult us up.
I see that.
And it's got the name, it's got the audience, it's got the controversy.
I see what I want to see. What I want to see is Chicago does have its own Fashion Week.
Mhm.
That's been at least 2 years running. I think there were maybe like previous iterations that didn't quite that didn't quite materialize in the same way, but we have had a Chicago fashion show, obviously not on par with the likes of, say, New York, but maybe the answer is to just like really have a fashion week that like is on the map. And I don't know how you get like an existing event on the map quite in the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say for me, I just got back from Seattle, which is where I'm from. And everyone there was talking about how much they loved having the World Cup matches there. And obviously Chicago didn't have any. And I was pretty on board with like, yeah, I'm cool with not having any World Cup matches, but and I still kind of am mostly, I think on principle. But the energy out there was crazy. They're still talking about it. They loved it. They were like, yeah, it was crazy. Everybody like came together. We were all like watching the same teams. And like, I met so many people from so many countries. And like,
that would be a lot I think that would do well in Chicago, honestly.
Probably. So that was another one that actually former Mayor Rahm Emanuel sort of was like, actually, I don't think this is going to be for us. You know, those FIFA contracts are, and like when they require for their stadium requirements are pretty crazy. Like they really, really require a lot out of those host cities. We'll see. I don't know. Let's hear from the listeners. What we're not getting NASCAR next year, and it sounds, but what's an event, maybe a big televised event that you think could replace it or that you'd want to see come to Chicago? Shoot us a text, 773-780-0246. So, Yareni, a few weeks ago, you were on the show talking about a feud between Disney/ABC, including our local Channel 7, and the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. Well, it looks like that feud is escalating now. Tell us what's new and how did we get here?
It's insane. I've been following this so tightly. So, the recent escalation. The fight over ABC7 Chicago's broadcast license just moved from the FCC to federal court after Disney and ABC decided to sue the agency over its decision to review the station's license years ahead of schedule.
Let's start with this review of licenses, right? So this is something that the FCC historically does on kind of a regular schedule. They review broadcast licenses, for networks, but also for various affiliate stations, right? Like Channel 7, right? WLS. And that schedule was supposed to come up, I think, in 2028. But the FCC was like, actually, we're going to review these licenses early. And it's all stemming from sort of the Trump administration's beef with free media and free speech in general,
pretty
but
much.
Specifically, with ABC, obviously we all remember sort of the Kimmel incident, right? Where, Kimmel was suspended. Also, Trump's had this long-standing feud with The View, forever and ever and ever. But, sort of the stated reason has to do with like, quote unquote, DEI policies, in hiring by Disney and ABC. And, so that's why they have to review these licenses early to make sure, supposedly that they comply with these laws. And so that's kind of that's like the mechanism that's going on. But what would that actually mean for Channel 7?
Well, if they lose the lawsuit and then they continue to try to remove their license, like that's it. Like literally, we would not see ABC Chicago on our broadcast waves. And even then, apart from just us not having access to that form of media anymore, like it really is just the precedent on what this sets for media in our city, media in our country. Like I don't know about y'all, but I grew up seeing ABC7. Like that was our local network. That's what was just in the background. It was at dentist office. It was just there pretty much. And I just can't imagine a world where that's not in the picture.
The numbers back you up there yet, Annie. I didn't grow up here, but I do know that, Channel 7 is one of the most watched TV stations here in Chicago. I mean, dealing with programming is bad enough, like just shows and things like that, whatever Disney ABC is putting out. But I think especially what this could mean for the news team at Channel 7, right? That is one, we are not really in a position to be losing news sources anywhere, but in Chicago especially. And so the idea that is even a remote possibility. And so so the network ABC has filed a lawsuit basically saying this early review, they're saying it's unconstitutional under the First Amendment, that basically this is being done for political reasons as opposed to actually being concerned with the rules and laws around broadcasting.
The chair, Brendan Carr, has not confirmed that their decision to accelerate the process of the license renewal has anything to do with ABC's editorial decisions. He has not confirmed that. He has not said that has been the link or whatever. He has said simply that.
Well, and has denied explicitly that it's quote unquote, that it's political, right?
Yes,
so to speak.
Yes, he has. He said something amongst the lines of, if they don't like it, they can become a podcast. They can go onto cable. Like if they don't want to comply, to federal rules, then they don't need to be here. Again, that is a very mean girl summary of what he said, but
it's not. It's pretty accurate, yet. I mean, like it's not inaccurate. I think, and I think the reason this is so significant is Channel 7 has actually, they have come out and asked explicitly for viewer support, right?
So part of that happens is that filed complaints or concerns need to be sent to the FCC in order to support the stations that are up for this. And so ABC Chicago, I thought this was so, I don't know, just honest of them. They literally just put it out on their network, on their socials. This is what is happening. We have been providing you guys with news and information on our community for such a long time. Now we need you guys to help us out, which I thought was just very sweet. And obviously it does come from a sense of urgency and need, but I thought it was kind of beautiful in a way, just the community helping the community. As the media, we are a big part of the community, and it's nice to see, I guess, the breaking of the fourth wall. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's actually really extraordinary to kind of see a direct appeal to viewership that way from a station like this. So that public comment period closed in late July before this lawsuit was filed. The lawsuit was just filed this week.
They kind of have their hands tied right now, especially now with the lawsuit happening. There's only so much they can say, especially if they're claiming a violation of the First Amendment. There is that's a very big claim.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in court.
I agree.
This is I think this is pretty fundamental to public broadcasting in the United States, right? We have these channels that are available to anyone, right? You don't need to pay money so long as you have sort of the receiver to be able to receive it. You can set up your TV and these channels exist for you, right? And that's why that's why there are, on the one hand, so many rules and regulations about how these stations can be run. But if you put someone in power like Brandon Carr, who's working at the behest of the president, if you have a bone to pick, someone with enough power can use those rules and regulations to sort of enact a level of control over this highly regulated airspace, right? And so that is kind of what we're seeing. And I think, frankly, this court battle could be, I think there's a lot here in terms of a First Amendment battle that potentially future journalism students might be studying down the line.
I agree.
I think there's something really, really interesting here. So the Michelin Guide has released a list of their top 8 Mexican restaurants in Chicago. It's a pretty good list. I think there are some good ones on there. They've got Cariño up here in Uptown. That's the only one that actually has a Michelin star. And then they have a few other that I think are like Bib Gourmand or just, sort of Michelin recommends. Sol de Mexico in Belmont Cragen. Taqueria Chingon is another one. Although I think our producer Michelle Navarro went to the new one in West Loop and said it was a bit disappointing. Actually, I can neither confirm nor deny. I haven't been. I don't know. But it made us wonder if you guys want to put the best Mexican restaurants in Chicago on for the people listening, because boy, do we have a lot of good ones.
Yeah. There's so many. Actually, I really want to hear from PJ because, I mean, you're vegan. So that changes where you can consume.
Yeah.
Listen, I like what I like and people like what they like, and you may not like what I like, and that's okay. So I'm just going to say this is what I like, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I like, have y'all ever heard of Penelope's Vegan Taqueria?
Yes. There's one here in Andersonville.
Yes, that's the one. I went to that one, and I feel like I've been to the one in River North. I think it's in Andersonville, River North, and Pilsen. Yes,
I know there's one in Pilsen for sure.
They are good. I really enjoy it. It got stuff for me. The vegan girls.
For Penelope's, I like the mushroom birria. Again, if you are expecting it. If you're expecting it to taste like birria, it doesn't taste like birria. Don't go in thinking it's going to taste like meat. That tends to be my approach to vegan and vegetarian food, is I just tend not to, I'm not looking for a meat substitute. I'm looking for something prepared well.
Right.
And I do think the mushrooms and are prepared very well. And that's one of the ones I do like. The other one I like, they have a vegan ceviche, quote unquote. But it's like kind of marinated cauliflower.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like nice on chips. I don't know. And it's a good way to get some fiber really fast. So I like it.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I've been there twice now. I probably need to hit them up for the summer.
And their vegan cheese is pretty good. They do a good vegan cheese, I think.
Because I think they have like I think we had a dip last time that we shared for the table, and I was like, "Ooh, I wasn't expecting this to be like this. This is nice."
Yeah.
And then another place.
Yeah, Annie's face right now. She's so skeptical.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Listen,
you just gotta accept it for
Right.
what it is. Yeah, Annie. You can't think of it in the context of what it's not.
just
Okay.
open mind. You know what I'm saying? And then another place is just a little place down the street from it. It's called El Gallo Bravo. Is one down the street here.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I do not like El Gallo Bravo.
Ooh.
All right. And then the last place. Okay, this ain't even a restaurant. This a little trifle. This ain't trifling shit. You gotta support all businesses. Okay, it's from a food truck, y'all.
Yeah.
This place called Alo's Tacos. I done ate out of a lot of trucks. But I that was so good, I was finna steal the whole truck and take it home. It was they had these potato tacos. They were so good. And I was like, ooh, it's just so flavorful. Like, I was getting back in there for seconds, thirds, fourths, and fifths. It was great. They on Instagram too at ALOSTACOS. Alo's Tacos.
Yareni, what's on your list?
I love my veggies on the side. So my favorites are, I really like El Canton Region. It's in
Ooh.
Pilsen. I think they're only cash, but to me, that is elite Mexican cuisine. That is the
That's how
creme
you know it's
brulee
good when
of-
they only accept cash.
It's the atmosphere is just like so cute. Sometimes they have like live music going on there on the
Ooh.
weekend. It's a good vibe. You can go drink if you want if you don't eat meat. But and that's probably number one. My second one is it's around the like Archer Heights area. It's called La Cebollita. Also fire, gas. And then third, you know what? This one isn't necessarily even my favorite, but I feel like it's a Chicago classic, childhood staple. Taqueria Los Comales. There's a couple throughout the city.
Yeah.
The one in Pilsen's pretty because it's blue.
Oh.
Those are my top three. I think they got vegan stuff there, PJ. What about you, Simone?
Couple places on my list. I think this is probably our favorite taco just here at CityCast. I know me and Jacoby both agree on this. La Chaparrita in Little Village.
Okay.
That's the place where it's like, I want to eat a dozen of those tacos. They're little. I maybe could. Like, it's just on point every single time. I would say my runner-up as far as tacos go is El Dragon Taqueria in kind of like Goose Island area. It's in the same complex as like a mobile gas station, but it's its own little sit down restaurant, and it is shockingly good. It's really, really, really good.
Period.
It's excellent. For my kind of like workhorse delivery, like I need a burrito and I need it right now. I like Carmela's over here on Lawrence and Broadway. It's that place of like, I think I want a Chipotle burrito. No, you don't. You want one from Carmela's.
Oh, I need to try that out.
One, actually.
I just remembered one. This is probably my favorite place to go to. I recommend it to everybody in the world. They do it like nobody else. So y'all know the tortillas Milagro? Like the corn ones? So, so they have a taqueria connected to the tortilleria in Little Village, and they sell these tacos on corn tortilla, and they put like a little spoonful of Mexican rice, fried beans on it, some steak, and then like cabbage on top, and they give you like 2 of the best salsas ever, and I swear I've never seen anybody do it like that. Nobody.
I'm shook because I love that brand, and I did not know they had that. Oh my God, I can't wait to go.
That's just the problem. You could try, Jacoby's visiting every library in the city. And it's like, if you tried to visit every taqueria in the city of Chicago.
You got a little journey. You got a little documentary on your hands.
You do.
That's years.
Okay.
That's years of your life. One that was a total surprise because it's in the Loop across the street from the Palmer House, right down the street from Millennium Park, called Momento Cantina.
They're new, right?
They're newer. I had family in town. They were staying downtown. And so we just went somewhere that was, close that everyone could walk to. And so I did not have high hopes, right? Because I got to be honest, sometimes when you're in the Loop and you're getting dinner, like in the True Loop, it's, it's just sometimes it's not always the best. Oh my God. The cocktails were on point. The food was amazing. I had, I wish I could remember the exact dish I had, but the sauce was like so complex and it came out and the tortillas were homemade and it was really good.
Good shit.
I was absolutely shocked at how kind of like authentic and wonderful the experience was for the location.
Wow.
So highly recommend that if you've got people in town who are, already hanging out in the Loop and you want to like show them somewhere nice. Also, afterwards, we went to the Palmer House and got the Palmer House brownie.
Hey.
So solid experience. Well, I think this is a pretty good list.
Yes.
I'm hungry now. It's lunchtime. If anyone else has any Mexican restaurants that they think need to belong on this list, again, shoot us a text, 773-780-0246. I want to thank our contributors for joining us today. PJ Walker, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And Yareni Murillo, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And some good news before we let you go. Speaking of Mexican food, Lakeview Taco Fest is happening this weekend along Southport between Roscoe and Addison. Visitors are going to be able to vote for the best taco, and there's going to be music and wrestlers and more. That's happening Friday through Sunday. Make sure you check out our events page at chicago.citycast.fm for more things to do this weekend, and of course, every weekend after that. That's it for today here on CityCast Chicago. Jacoby will be back tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.